The weight of him was a comfort, a solid, living anchor in the dead of night. Everly lay beside General Corbin Wolfe, her head pillowed on his chest, listening to the steady, reassuring rhythm of his heart. His scars, remnants of a life lived on the edge, were familiar terrain beneath her fingertips. Each one told a story of survival, of a strength she was only just beginning to understand. In the quiet of their bedroom, the world outside, with its whispers and its venom, felt a universe away, but the silence in her own mind was a fragile truce. It shattered without warning. A cold, sharp whisper, not of sound but of pure intent, sliced through her thoughts. He's damaged goods, barren, marrying him is a dead end. It was the echo of 100 malicious minds, the collective sneer of Monarch Bay's elite, a curse she alone could hear. A bitter smile touched Everly's lips in the darkness. Let them whisper, let them sneer. She rested a hand on her still flat stomach, a secret shared between her and the man. Breathing softly beside her, they thought him broken, they thought her a fool, they knew nothing. Section 01. The nightmare always began the same way, the sterile, cloying scent of antiseptic, the cold linoleum floor pressing against her cheek, and the voice of Leland Montgomery, the man she'd once loved, dripping with a contempt that chilled her to the bone. If you hadn't switched the lottery balls, Cassidy wouldn't be married to that brute. He stood over her, his handsome face twisted into a mask of disgust. Her half-sister, Cassidy, stood beside him, her expression a sickening blend of feigned sympathy and triumphant glee. It's for the best, sister, Cassidy had cooed, adjusting the diamond bracelet on her wrist, a gift from her new, powerful husband, a man who should have been Everly's. A bastard child has no place in this family. A sharp, brutal kick landed in Everly's stomach, pain, white-hot and blinding, tore through her. She had crawled from that opulent mansion, bleeding and broken, seeking refuge at her father's house, but it was Cassidy who met her on the long, rain-slicked driveway, mounted on a magnificent stallion. A stray dog deserves to die in the street. Everly, the horse's hoof, a final, merciless blow. Darkness. Everly's eyes snapped open, her own sharp gasp pulling her from the drowning depths of memory. She was in her own bed, in her father's house, safe, alive. The past was a ghost, but the hatred it fueled was a fire in her veins. This time, things would be different. This time, she could hear their secrets. The curse that had haunted her since her rebirth, the ability to hear the true, venomous thoughts of others, would be her weapon. Tonight was the Scarlet lottery, and this time, the butcher wouldn't be her. The ballroom buzzed with the low hum of ambition and expensive perfume. Crystal chandeliers cast a fractured, diamond-like glow over Monarch Bay's most powerful figures. Walter Roth, Everly's father, stood beside her, his hand a heavy, proprietary weight on her shoulder. He was a merchant to his core, and tonight, his daughters were his most valuable commodities. The Crestwood heir, Donovan Jr., is in attendance, Walter murmured, his voice a low command. An alliance with them would secure our company for a generation. Everly's gaze swept over the crowd. She didn't need her father's reminder. She could feel the collective avarice in the room, a cacophony of silent, greedy thoughts. Her eyes landed on her half-sister, Cassidy Pierce. Cassidy was a vision in crimson, her beauty a sharp, predatory thing. She was laughing, her gaze fixed on Donovan Crestwood Jr., but Everly could hear the thought behind the smile as clearly as if it were shouted. Tonight, I become a Crestwood. That stupid, sentimental fool can have my leftovers. The leftovers was Leland Montgomery, standing stiffly by Cassidy's side, his eyes burning with a desperate, possessive love. Everly, her father's voice sharpened, pulling her from her thoughts. You are the pride of the Roth family. Make a choice that honors us all. The silent, unspoken postscript hung in the air between them. Bring me a son-in-law that benefits my business. Everly met her father's gaze, a serene, placid smile on her lips. Of course, father. She would honor the family, just not in the way he expected. The lottery balls, polished spheres of ivory, rested in a velvet-lined silver bowl. Each held a number, a destiny. Ball number 7 for Leland Montgomery. Ball number 11 for the butcher, Trey Riggs. In her past life, guided by the phantom whispers she'd mistaken for fate, she had chosen 7. Tonight, fate would be rewritten. Sister, Cassidy's voice was sweet as poison as she approached. You look nervous. I have a feeling you'll draw your heart's desire tonight. You'll get the husband you deserve. Everly could hear the unspoken venom. You'll get the butcher, and I'll get everything. Is that so? Everly's smile didn't waver. Her gaze drifted from ball number 7 to ball number 11, her fingers hovering, feigning indecision. She saw the flicker of anxiety in Cassidy's eyes. Good, you know, Cassidy, Everly said, her voice loud enough for those nearby to hear. You seem more anxious than I am. Is there something special about these two numbers? Cassidy's laugh was a fraction too high. Of course not. They're all just numbers. Father arranged everything himself. She gestured to the crowd. But with men from every walk of life here, even butchers and gamblers, a girl has to be nervous. I'd hate for either of us to end up with refuse. Then which do you think is luckier? Everly pressed, feigning a need for her sister's guidance. 7 or 11. A flash of triumph lit Cassidy's eyes. The fool thought her plan was working. Well, Cassidy said, leaning in conspiratorially, you were born in July, the 7th month. Perhaps 7 is your lucky number. She was practically pushing ball number 7 into Everly's hand. Everly nodded slowly, a thoughtful expression on her face. Then she turned to her father. Father, she announced, her voice ringing with filial piety. Cassidy is so eager to see me happy. She's practically bursting, but I am the elder sister. How can I possibly choose before her, leaving her with only my leavings? She took Cassidy's hand, a gesture of sisterly affection that made Cassidy's skin crawl. Let her choose first. Let my dear sister have the first chance at happiness. The crowd murmured in approval. Walter Roth, ever conscious of public image, beamed. An excellent idea. Everly, magnanimous. Cassidy, you shall choose first. Cassidy's eyes widened, a flicker of pure, ecstatic joy breaking through her carefully constructed facade. She thought she'd won. She thought the Crestwood fortune was hers. Everly smiled. The trap was set. Section 0 for the spotlight followed Cassidy as she glided towards the silver bowl. All eyes were on her. Leland Montgomery watched from the crowd, his knuckles white, his entire being radiating a desperate hope. Everly could hear his frantic, silent prayer. Choose 7. Cassidy, choose me. He had told her his number was 7, believing they would be united tonight. He was about to be very disappointed. Cassidy's fingers, adorned with glittering rings, hovered over the ivory spheres. She shot a quick, triumphant glance at Everly, a silent message passing between them. I know you switched them. I'm choosing my prince. It was the lie Everly had fed her in their last conversation, a lie her greedy sister had swallowed whole. With a flourish, Cassidy's hand closed around a single ball, not number 7. She decisively plucked out ball number 11. A collective gasp rippled through the ballroom. Leland Montgomery looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. He stumbled forward, his face pale with disbelief. Wait, he shouted, his voice cracking. This is a momentous decision. Miss Pierce, perhaps you should reconsider. He was frantically trying to signal her, his eyes wide with panic, but Cassidy, blinded by her ambition, didn't even spare him a glance. She held the ball aloft. aloft, her smile a mask of supreme confidence. No need, she declared, her voice ringing with finality. I've made my choice. Number 11. She swept past Leland, handing the ball to the master of ceremonies with the air of a queen bestowing a favor. She believed she was handing over the key to her royal future. In reality, she was handing over her own death warrant. Section 05. The master of ceremonies, a man with a booming voice and a flair for the dramatic, took the ivory ball. He consulted his master list, a thick parchment scroll tied with a scarlet ribbon. A hush fell over the room. Cassidy stood with her head held high, a picture of smug certainty, and the chosen husband for Miss Cassidy Pierce is. He paused for effect, his eyes scanning the list. The proprietor of Riggs Meats, Mr. Trey Riggs. For a moment, there was only stunned silence. Then, the whispers erupted like a sudden wildfire. What? Out of all the eligible bachelors, she drew the butcher. That's some rotten luck. Riggs just hit the jackpot. 100,000 for a ticket, and he walks away with a Roth daughter. Best investment he ever made. Leland Montgomery was frozen, his face a canvas of heartbreak and humiliation. Trey Riggs, however, was not. A large, beefy man with a florid face and hands like slabs of meat. He shouldered his way through the crowd, a grin splitting his face. That's me, he bellowed. I'm the lucky guy. He bounded onto the stage and, before anyone could react, wrapped Cassidy in a crushing bear hug. The foul, coppery scent of old blood and cheap cologne enveloped her. Cassidy shrieked, a raw, terrified sound, and scrambled out of his embrace, her crimson dress wrinkled and askew. Who are you? Get away from me, she gasped, her chest heaving, her face flushed with horror and rage. Trey Riggs just chuckled, rubbing his massive hands together. I'm your husband, darling, he said, pulling a crumpled receipt from his pocket. See? Lottery ticket, number 11. It's all official. Cassidy stared at him, at his greasy hair and stained shirt, and her carefully constructed world shattered. Impossible, she whispered, her voice trembling. Number 11. It was supposed to be the prince. Her frantic, unguarded words hung in the air.